Hi, I'm Darren and welcome to the SEM Academy Show episode 1. In today's episode, we're going to take a look and understand why Google are getting rid of standard text ads and forcing us to use responsive search ads. Staying on the topic of ads, we're going to take a look and understand whether or not you should be using sentence case or title case in your ads and headlines. We're going to review an e-commerce tool called Shoptimised, and I'm going to reveal to you the most searched keyword on Bing. You don't want to miss it. Coming up. Hello marketers and welcome to the SEM Academy Show episode 1. Thank you for joining me on this episode. This is the very first one of this new format. Thank you for being the guinea pig. Let me know in the comments whether or not you like this show format. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe because you're going to get loads of tips and insight on the world of paid advertising. So starting off from the very top, the very first thing I mentioned on the video today is that Google are getting rid of standard text ads. Now, we know the standard text ad for a long time. It's been changed from lower characters of 25 characters for a headline up to now 35 characters. And now we're in a position where Google are getting rid of this ad format completely and forcing us to use responsive search ads. By June of next year, new advertisers will not be allowed to create any normal standard text ads. And in addition to that, current advertisers with standard text ads will automatically be migrated over to responsive search ads, meaning they can no longer manage standard text ads in their account. So it might seem like it's quite far away in terms of June 2022 when this is happening, but changes are already being made in Google Ads accounts to make sure Google forces people to use responsive search ads. If you go into Google Ads and try and create a new ad, then you will see that responsive search ads is the only option in most accounts now. So why are Google doing this? Well, the reason is of course that responsive search ads in Google's eyes, based on the data they probably have, says that they're going to provide better results for advertisers than standard text ads. Now, is this the case? Well, personally, in campaigns I've run, responsive search ads don't always do the job. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. In all honesty, it's about 50-50 for me. Let me know in the comments whether or not you think responsive search ads are for you and whether they're working for you at the moment. So by giving Google multiple headlines, maybe even 8 or 9 headlines, maybe even 7 headlines to work with, and then multiple descriptions, maybe 2 or 3, Google thinks they can optimize the performance of the ad based on the intent of the user, the keyword being searched, the device they're on, all of their hidden optimization points that we cannot even see. Google thinks with the right combination to the right advertiser, it's going to work better for your campaigns. However, I know from examples and experience that that's not always the case, and there is sometimes key information you want to get into your text ads. So what can you do about it? Well, let's take a look. Firstly, I always say this: test, test, test. Have a look. Find out if responsive search ads will work for you. Don't be put off by thinking that getting migrated to this ad format isn't going to work for you, and don't even take my word for it. I've trialed them in some campaigns, they haven't worked, but sometimes they can work and they should work, hopefully, so go ahead and try them. If you've tried them and you're not getting good results and you're worried that you're going to have to migrate to them by the middle of next year, because you will, Google are going to force you, there are some things you can do. So I'm going to share with you something you can do to fix the content of your responsive search ads. Now, Google doesn't like this, and I'd imagine potentially they will only keep this feature for regulated industries where you have to give a disclaimer within your adverts. For example, in the investment industry, you have to say, in the UK anyway, that the person's capital who's going to invest is at risk. So Google needs to be able to let advertisers do that within their ads. So using that functionality, you can work around Google's messaging and their forcing of you using the responsive search ad format. So let's take a look. So when you log into Google Ads, click onto the campaign you want to edit the responsive search ads for, and then go into the Ads and Extensions tab and then click on the plus button, and you'll see, as I mentioned, your only 2 options are responsive search ad and call ads, which allow you to make a phone call through your advertising. So you can see Google have got rid of the standard text ad already, even though you can manage them. You can't create any new ones. So click on responsive search ad and choose the ad group you want to create the ad in. Once you're in, what you will see is quite often, if you haven't got an ad already, Google will already start populating your content. So you can see here, Google have already suggested a bunch of headlines and descriptions based on my existing ad content already. So it saves you a lot of time and effort to migrate to this platform and this system, which is good. That's a very good thing Google have done to save advertisers time. Now, say for example, I know for sure that this line here, we've helped 40,000 customers, is going to work really well for me. It's worked in all of my previous A/B testing in my text ads, and I want to make sure it stays in my ad, and I don't want Google to override this. All you need to do is click on this button here, which will pin the content of your ad. You can either choose to pin it in the first part of the headline, the second, or the third part of the headline. So say for example, I always want to put it in the second part of the headline because I think it will perform best there. I've now pinned that content to the ad. Now of course that's been pinned, but I've still got 2 slots already as well. I can also pin content to the first part and the third part of the headline as well. So say for argument's sake, I wanted to keep the ad format of this line being the first headline. Click the pin button, position 1, click the pin button, position 3. Now the first 3 headlines here are going to make up my ad every single time. They've been pinned in place, and that is a good way to override the new change Google have made to their ad formats. Google doesn't advise this. I don't advise it if you haven't tested using responsive search ads yet. Let them run, see if you get better results. But if you do get bad results and you want to pin your content, you can do it like this. Same applies for the description. You can pin descriptions as well. You can show them in position 1 or only in position 2, so you can pin specific descriptions as well. Now, one thing I will say, it's not happened in this example, and possibly because this is an expired ad account that I'm using as an example, is that sometimes when you change these pieces of content and pin ad content, you will find that this ad strength score, which is a score Google gives you based on what they think the quality of your ad is when you add enough headlines and descriptions and use popular keywords, it can drop down to poor, because Google doesn't want you to do that. So it's not happened on this example, but it can happen, just to make you aware. This score is not your quality score. Your quality score is made up of different components. It's an indication of Google what they think of your ad. Now this could tie into their ad quality in the background. No analysis has been done in this area, but it's just to make you aware that your ad strength score could decrease. Whether or not you care, doesn't matter. I wouldn't care necessarily if mine decreased if I was getting good results on the other side. So again, it's worth testing, and if you do want to pin content to get around Google's change coming, then you can do that exactly as I've shown you. So there you have it. That is the update for responsive search ads. If you want to get around them and use your own intuition to create your own ads the same way you used to when using standard text ads, you now know how to do that. And if you want to get around Google, you can go ahead and do so. So up next, we're going to discuss use of sentence case or title case when writing your Google Ads ads. Now, there's been many debates online about whether you should use title case. A lot of people think title case is the best thing to do in both the headline and the description of the ad. I see it used very commonly. Most agencies I've worked with use this format as well, and many advertisers also think this is the norm as well. But let's take a look and understand whether or not you should be using different casing for your ads in terms of using sentence case instead of title case throughout the ad. Now, first things first, I'm going to get scientific here, just to give a bit of base to what I'm about to say. Now, the way people read words in speed or online, and of course, if someone's performing a Google search for a service, they don't dwell on the Google search results page for very long. They choose an advert that appeals to them the most, or they go to an organic result that appeals to them the most. So they don't have much time, they read very quickly, and with that in mind, there have been studies that show that the way people read words are like pictures. They recognize the first and the last letter of a word when scanning through, and they can interpret what those words mean even if the letters are jumbled up. However, the only way they're recognized most instantly is if you write things in sentence case. So what that means is that when you're writing an ad and you're writing in sentences, then it means sentence case is easily more understood by users than title case. But that applies to the description and not the headline. The reason being, the headline is not a sentence. The description is written in sentences. The headlines are attention-grabbing snippets of text with very few characters, meaning title case actually gets more attention on the headline. So, with that said, what that means is, When writing an ad on Google, the best approach is in your headlines to use title case. Make sure every single word in your headline is capitalized, it stands out more, and when you look at the search results page and you look at your ads versus your competitor ads, yours are going to stand out as much as theirs are. So the first challenge, of course, is to take up real estate. Capital letters appear bigger, they appear taller, they appear more bold, so people can see them more easily. Headlines grab attention. However, when reading the content of the ad itself, users have less stress and less, friction when understanding the content if you go with sentence case. The data bears this out in terms of science and understanding what the studies have been in the past that have looked at this. So from my point of view, when I write ads, I always go with headlines in full title case and then the rest of the content in sentence case, because it makes things a lot easier to read for users. This might vary geography to geography depending on language, but in terms of the English speaking world, which of course I'm speaking English, so I hope all of you can understand me, that is the best way to write your ads. Now, I always say back things up with the data. It could depend on your industry, it could depend on your niche. Always trial these different things, but for your next A/B test for your ads, I would advise you trial writing your descriptions in title case and sentence case and do an A/B test and see which one does better for you. I have a feeling it will be sentence case because that is how the brain is trained to read content, and that's really important, and that's why when it comes to title case versus sentence case, it's a balance. The headline, always titles, the description, always sentence case. If you're an e-commerce business, you're going to want to pay attention to this section because we're going to take a look at a tool called Shoptimised. Now, Shoptimised is a really powerful e-commerce tool. They have a bunch of different things within their system, but the one part of their system that's really powerful is a tool called incremental sales. Now, incremental sales has one objective and one objective only, and that is to make sure Google gives your entire feed a fair shot at visibility. So what do I mean by that? Well, on average, if you take a look at your feed, on average 54% of products get no clicks and a further 34% get no conversions, meaning only very few products within your shopping feed on Google Ads are doing any of the heavy lifting and generating sales for your business, with loads of items in your feed getting no visibility. Why is that? Well, there's something called algorithm bias. Google essentially decides very early on whether or not a product is going to work for your campaign objectives. Now, this is even more specific with smart campaigns where you don't have any control over the bids. On a normal shopping campaign, you can override this to some degree, but most people now on Google Shopping are running smart shopping campaigns, meaning Google have full control over your bids to go towards your goal, whether that's a target ROAS or whether that's a revenue goal. Either way, Google will adjust your bids to try and meet that goal. And on the process of doing that, some of your items are not going to get any visibility. So it seems unfair because some of these items, as you know, haven't had a chance to convert, no visibility. So what Shoptimised does is it resurfaces those items. It gives them more chance at visibility, more chance at traffic, and more chance to convert. So their incremental sales tool, what that does is it resurfaces those products that haven't had a chance to get any clicks. It pulls in your Google Ads feed, and setup is very simple. It's just a case of creating an account and pulling your feed in by logging into your Google Ads account via their system and connecting the two together. Once they get your hold of your feed, they can understand the performance, they can see which items have not had visibility, and they build their own separate Google Ads campaign within your account. And when it's in your account, what they do is they block every single product in your main core campaign that's getting visibility, and then they only focus on the products that aren't getting visibility. And once they do that, they run a bunch of tests and push your campaign out through different CSS networks, which stands for comparison shopping services, because on Google Ads, when you do a search for a shopping result, you'll notice some of the ads aren't just from Google. There are a bunch, over 100 different places you can sell your products online via the Google Ads network that isn't specifically Google, meaning you get more visibility, more opportunities to show on your ads, and that is exactly why they plug into these networks, to give your ads more opportunity. They make tweaks and tests and optimizations to give those products visibility, and when they start generating sales, they would have been sales you wouldn't have got in your main campaign, because those products that are getting the visibility that Shoptimised is giving you were biased by the algorithm. So it's a win-win. It's a great way to scale your ads, because one of the challenges with scaling a Google Ads campaign is you might get more sales, but you end up paying more for those sales. So you don't want to be in that position where you're paying more for your sales. The only way to get more opportunity is to expand the number of products that are getting visibility, and Shoptimised does exactly that. And the best part is, the good news is that as soon as a product starts converting in your main campaign, you don't have to rely on the incremental campaign to get results. They'll stop running ads with that particular product. So they don't do any cannibalization. Your products that are performing will work in your main campaign. They focus on the stuff that's not working and not converting and not getting any clicks. So there's no issues with cannibalization. So, key question I can already hear you asking, Darren, this is a great service, but how much is it going to cost me? Well, luckily, the fees are very straightforward. The incremental sales campaign they run parallel to your main campaign, all of the revenue that generates, your fee for them is 10% of that revenue, meaning if their incremental sales campaign that's resurfacing items that don't get visibility, if that campaign generates £1,000, their fee is £100. Now, that sounds good, but it's actually better than that, because like any e-commerce business, you're going to have to pay taxes. Like any business, you're going to pay taxes. They know that. Like any business, especially of course e-commerce, you're going to get returns. People are going to send things back. Not everybody who buys something will keep it and be a happy customer. Some people might get damaged goods in transit. Some people might not even just like what they've bought. You will get a percentage of returns. So they factor these two figures in. In the UK, there's something called VAT, or value added tax, that is 20%. So they take off that 20% from their fee, and they also account for 7% from the returns you could potentially get. So instead of paying 10% on your total revenue, from that 10% revenue, they minus off 27% of that final figure. So you're paying a lot less than you normally would if you just went with a flat 10%. So the fees and structure are very simple, meaning that when your ads scale, then the fee goes up. You don't pay more for results you don't get. So it's very balanced, a very fair way of doing things, and they always work towards outperforming your current campaign. So they don't deem success getting some results and your main campaign performs better in terms of a return on advertising spend. Their metrics for performance are that they should be outperforming your main campaign because they have access to so much more. They can put you out on more CSS networks and they can get more results and more visibility, meaning that they should be doing better. And in my opinion, because I obviously work with these guys and I've been using their software, it has been working. So this isn't a review where it's kind of a paid link in the description or anything like that. It's not a affiliate link or anything like that. I work with this tool, I use it, and I'm happy to endorse it because it does wonders for the businesses I work with. So that is why I'm endorsing this tool at 4.5 stars out of 5. Now, I very seldom give 5-star reviews. You've got to absolutely blow me away for a 5-star review. This tool has basically done that, but I always think there's room for improvement with a lot of these systems. They're quite a new business, and I think they'll continue to grow, add more to their repertoire, and get even better and better. But for me, in my opinion, I think this tool is worth trialing. If you want to trial it, head over to Shoptimised's website. I've linked it in the description below. Again, not an affiliate link, so feel free to go through there and give them a chance. I think it will work wonders for your e-commerce campaigns. And let me know in the description, let me know in the comments if you are going to trial this tool. I'd be love to hear from you. Let me know what results you get from it when you start running campaigns as well. So let's be honest, I'm going to guess a lot of you probably had the same assumption. I had the same assumption, you had the same assumption, but now it's written in court and it's on the record. Microsoft Bing, officially, their most searched term on their search engine is Google. So, why is that the case? Well, Google have recently been fighting their corner in court because they're being accused of anti-competition performance and anti-competition behavior because they have made Google the default search engine on smartphones. So a lot of companies in the EU, of course, are deciding that whether or not Google are breaking competition rules by making that the default search engine. Say what you like about the market and economy and things like that, but the idea is that basically, because Android is so dominant, you have basically two phones to choose from, iOS and Android. Google putting their search engine as a default on Android devices could be seen as anti-competition. Well, whatever you think of that, in the court case, Google said in their defense, no, we just have the most popular search engine. If you look at the next most popular search engine in the Western world, which is Bing, their most searched term is Google, and Google submitted that evidence to the record in court, meaning that is probably true, and in fact I'm going to say it is true. There's no reason I would say Google are lying about this if it's submitted in a court case against the EU. So with that said, that is the most searched term on Google. Sorry, most searched term on Bing is Google. That in itself is hilarious. It kind of shows you the position the search engine market is in. Doesn't mean you should give up on Bing, because Bing still provides additional traffic. If you're running ads on Google, it's very easy to implement them on Bing with their one-click tool. Bing basically know they're the underdog. That's why they make it so easy to import Google Ads settings and features and campaigns, and they basically replicate the feel and look of their system. So Bing knows where they are. I don't know why they're complaining. They know exactly who the top dog is. It's Google, and it's proven in court again. And Bing just needs to calm down a little bit, because they need to understand that Google aren't going anywhere. They were the market leader, they are the market leader, their search engine and their results are better than Bing's. Bing, just make a better product. And even then, Google are too far ahead anyway. So I suppose that's that really. That is hilarious. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the SEM Academy Show. If you liked it, please leave a like below. Let me know in the comments any questions you have about search engine marketing. I'll be more than happy to answer them down there. Maybe something stuck out to you in this episode that you want to discuss. Hit me up in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to talk with you down there. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other content across the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.